The echo in the forest. Lena, Mark, Sarah, Jake, and Emma set out for a weekend camping trip in Ashwood Forest, a remote, isolated area far from civilization, known for its towering trees and eerie quiet. The forest offered the perfect escape. As they set up camp, the group noticed something strange. The air felt heavy, as though the forest itself was watching them. They joked about it being haunted, brushing it off as nerves. That night, while sitting around the campfire, they heard something odd. Every time they spoke, their voices echoed back to them too clearly. At first, they laughed it off, thinking it was just the acoustics. But it didn't stop. Mark joked, "What's that noise in the woods?" His voice echoed back, but this time, it wasn't his own. It was deeper, distorted. A chill ran down his spine. "Is anyone there?" he called. The forest responded faintly, but it wasn't their voices. A woman's whisper begged, "Help me, help me." The group fell silent, staring into the dark. Sarah nervously suggested it was just the wind, but the voices grew louder. Soon, a man's voice joined in, frantic. "They're still here. Don't come closer." Panic crept in. The echoes weren't theirs anymore. They were hearing the voices of people who had gone missing in Ashwood Forest over the years. Hikers, campers, locals, all vanished without a trace. Lena grabbed her flashlight. "We need to leave," she said, her voice shaky. But no matter which direction they took, they always ended up back at the campsite. The forest was trapping them. The voices became more frantic, more desperate. They heard footsteps behind them, but when they turned, no one was there. Then, their own names were called, echoed back to them, pleading them to stay. "Stay, you'll be safe," Emma screamed. "We have to go now." But the forest seemed to close in on them. The echoes of the missing people grew louder, like the forest itself was speaking, warning them, pulling them in. Then, in the dead of night, they heard one last whisper, close, too close. It felt like breath on their necks. "You're not alone here." The next morning, the group stumbled out of the forest, shaken and exhausted. They never spoke of that night again, but the memory haunted them. Years later, others ventured into Ashwood Forest, only to hear the same whispers. The voices of the lost still echoed in the trees, calling out to anyone who would listen. And if you listen carefully, you might hear them too.